Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, June 28th, and I'm your host, Brian Boudreau. Police are investigating a case of stolen credit cards here in Norwood. Earlier this week, the police department released a statement that purchases were made at Keegan's Jewelers in South Norwood using a stolen credit card.
So on May 20th, down at Keegan's Jewelers, a dark-skinned, tall suspect entered the store, went in, spoke to one of the clerks, and looked around. He ended up purchasing a men's two-tone 14-karat gold ring, a size 8.5 with a inset diamond. He had given the clerk a credit card, which he manually entered into the machine, and it approved it for $1,742. He then presented an identification to the clerk. About a month later, Keegan's was alerted by the credit card company that the Capital One, that the charge was fraudulent. They then contacted Officer Matthew O'Brien, who's the beat officer on the 8 to 4 shift. He works for me, and he began an investigation into the suspect. Through the identification and through contacting the victim of the credit card, who's out of Texas, we began an investigation, and Officer O'Brien was able to identify a strong suspect. He's currently working with another agency down in the South Shore that the suspect also went into another jewelry store and attempted to defraud that jewelry store for the same situation. So currently we're in the process of putting together photo arrays, and that's where the case is at now. If anybody has a tip, they can go to www.massmostwanted.com. This case number is case 20513 on Mass Most Wanted. There are 2 photos of the suspect, and again, if anyone has any tips, they can go to that case on massmostwanted.com and report a tip, and you can remain anonymous if you don't want your identity out there. That tip will eventually go to Officer O'Brien, and then he'll be able to work the case from there.
With the fiscal year drawing to an end and summer just beginning, the town manager gives us his latest report.
Hi folks, Town Manager Tony Mizuko coming to you with a monthly update. Norwood passed its $5.95 million operational override on June 3rd. This will impact the first quarter tax bills. Please contact the assessor's office if you have any questions. If you see Kathy Carney, our procurement director, say hello and congratulations to her as she's celebrating 35 years with the town of Norwood. Congrats to Kathy, and we look forward to many more years of her outstanding service to the town of Norwood. Sarah Winthrop, our DPW business manager, who's also been with the town for 32 years, recently graduated from the Suffolk University Mass Municipal Association Certificate Program in Local Government Leadership and Management. Congratulations to Sarah. Pools are open in Norwood. See the Recreation Department website for schedules, and use the pools as a great way to beat the heat. The Norwood Recreation Department hosted its first ever ice cream 5K and family fun run. It had over 375 registered runners. Congrats to the Rec Department on a great run and all the runners. The 4th of July parade is coming up this 4th of July, kicks off at 5:30 p.m. The concerts on the Common are back. Dates are July 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, and August 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. Please bring your own seating, and there are free raffles at every concert. Also very important this year is the July 28th concert featuring Natalie Jolly and the Reckless Hearts, which includes a cookout on the Common. All concerts run from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Town Common. Summerfest 2019 is also here with 8 concerts on Wednesday evenings in the Norwood Town Common from 7 to 10 p.m. on the Common on Wednesdays. July 10th, 17th, 24th, 31st, and August 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. Folks, did you know that the town of Norwood has planted an orchard? The Conservation Commission, as well as town staff and volunteers, came together to plant 46 apple trees in Norwood. Feel free to take a look when you have a chance, and we're looking forward to some delicious apples in a couple of years when the trees grow. Thank you and have a great summer.
Stay tuned after this break for some microbrew coffee on this week's Living Local.
Stop by the Norwood Morrill Memorial Library and check out magazines, newspapers, DVDs, and of course, books. The library also offers a variety of services, including passport renewal, a notary, and tutoring, with multiple different meeting rooms which can be booked for your convenience. Take advantage of online digital resources and get assistance with all of your research needs. Kids can enjoy the children's room stocked with books and toys. There are also a variety of programs for children and adults. And if you can't make it into the library can come to you with home delivery. The library is open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and on Fridays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. To learn more, go to www.norwoodlibrary.org.
Welcome back. Let's go down to South Norwood to the Space Center for a new brew in town on this week's Living Local. Located in Percival Brewing Company, Cafe Roasting focuses on bringing fresh coffee to the community.
My name's Nicholas Callahan. I'm the head roaster of Cafe Roasting Company in Norwood, Massachusetts.
Nick started roasting his coffee at home as a hobby, never thinking it would turn into a profession.
I actually started home roasting to start, and then I met with Phil, the owner of Percival, and we just kind of linked up, and he bought this wonderful machine, and now I'm here roasting on this commercial machine.
Using a professional coffee roasting machine, Nick explains the process of roasting fresh coffee.
Well, we start with green beans that we source all over the world, and we import them here from a supplier. We bring them in, burn into this Diedrich IR5, which is an infrared roaster, and it comes out with fresh coffee.
The name Cafe comes from the country of Ethiopia.
Well, Cafe is actually it was the first city within Ethiopia that found coffee. So there was actually a goat herder that noticed that his goats were eating these berries from this bush. He decided that he wanted to try some to get the similar effect, and that's basically how we got our name.
Nick thinks the Space Center is a great place for creative artists and businesses.
I do like the Space Center. It's a great place. It's just really a great hive of creative minds. So it's awesome to be here, not only with the brewery, but with the roastery as well.
Nick has found a home here in Norwood, who has welcomed him with open arms.
I love doing business in Norwood. The people are so supportive. They really love craft beer and craft coffee. They love the emphasis on the freshness. They love being a part of the community, and I love them for it.
A lot of customers that come in like to start their visit with a coffee before indulging in some tasty beers from Percival Brewing.
Yeah, we see people come in on a Saturday, they'll have a coffee to start. We serve hot coffee here, and then they'll switch over to beer for a little bit. We brew a lot of beers that include the coffee that we roast here, so it's a fun way for me to collaborate with Anthony, the head brewer, and we can come up with these insane coffee stouts and porters, and all kinds of recipes are lined up for coffee adjuncts with the beer.
Nick takes a lot of pride in roasting his coffee to the freshest.
The one thing that I want the community to know about our business is that we really emphasize freshness, and we're bringing the freshest coffee to Norwood.
To learn more about Cafe Roasting, visit their Facebook and Instagram pages. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your local government. Do you want to stay up to date with Norwood Community Media? Then subscribe to our weekly NCM newsletter. Every Friday, our promotions department publishes an online newsletter that highlights the work of NCM and the latest happenings. It includes the full episode of Norwood News, recent clips from NCM programs, behind-the-scenes photos, and so much more. NCM works hard to deliver a steady stream of Norwood content, and this newsletter is another way to stay connected to Norwood. To receive the newsletter, just visit www.norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Scroll to the bottom of the page, click the Sign Up for our newsletter button, and enter some basic information. You'll then be added to our newsletter mailing list. It's all here on Norwood Community Media, your home for all things Norwood. Welcome back to Norwood News. With the fiscal year closing out, the Board of Selectmen met with Town CFO Tom McQuaid and Assistant Town Manager Bernie Cooper to discuss the annual water and sewer rates for FY 2020. Cooper went on to say that 72% of water costs are MWRA maintenance costs. The next Board of Selectmen meeting will be Tuesday, July 9th. With summer in full swing, the Trails Advisory Committee convened to discuss some summer brainstorming, including future trail walks, trail marking, and design. The committee revealed that a new seating area will be in the Endine Park area.
Just because you said that, there is a bench on order. It may have already been delivered. And sometime in the next 3 weeks, it's going to be installed.
There?
Right there.
But don't we have to clear that?
It'll be cleared.
I mean, it's pretty bad down there.
That's
Yeah,
DPW's?
It will be,
Is
it will be cleared. Conservation, I forget where the money came from, which entity, but
We may have to bring in a couple of boulders to put on the,
make it pretty.
well, to put on the
See that?
bank, you know, and
flood, but yeah. Well, the raw material's there. You have everything you need to
Yeah.
turn that into
Yeah.
It's a very nice
It is a
just
area.
you
great
gotta,
spot.
you gotta clip away on foot,
a,
you
you
know.
need a
and-
Bobcat.
The next Trails meeting is scheduled for July 9th. With renovations of the St. Gabriel's Chapel recently coming to a close, the Permanent Building Construction Committee gave an update on the completion of the project. They also provided updates on the Town Hall project and an update on the leaking of the high school roof. The Permanent Building Construction Committee will meet again in July. With only one appointment on the agenda, the Board of Health called in Boston Market to have a discussion regarding a lack of communication with the board. The Board of Health will not meet again until September 17th. To watch complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government Channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out what's happening in your schools. Welcome back. Over the summer, we will be highlighting different projects that were produced by the NCM staff and NHS TV students during the past school year. A few months ago, we showed you a piece of the segment about Coakley Middle School principal Margot Frazek becoming a student for a day. Here is the full segment produced by NCM's own Jack Tolman.
The Fall of a Student Day, it's not an original idea of mine. It's one that I saw some other principals that I work with through the Massachusetts School Administrators Association doing. But we do it in order to take an inside look at our schools. Even just waiting at the bus stop, you forget as an adult that it's cold and not always so much fun to wait for the bus out in the morning and how very early it is. I think it was 6:47 when Maura and I went to wait for the bus that day. We were in the hallways first, and there is just a whole other world in the hallways of our school. Then history class, where they're learning about their government, which was really, really fun to see them kind of argue with each other and being asked some really challenging questions. We went into science, did some warm-ups there, and after science we had STEM class, which was amazing with Mr. O'Connor. They were doing maglev cars. We really had to work through this process, and it wasn't until the very end of class that he gave us the very important trick of putting the magnets onto the magnet first and then flipping them all over and gluing them on. He really let us struggle through that for the whole entire class, trying to figure out how do we make the car actually levitate on top of it. Spanish class was, I was very proud of myself that I was not the worst scorer in the Kahoot game that we were playing because I don't speak Spanish at all. I did note that she took my picture and did a little bit of tweeting of her own that day, commenting on the cup of coffee I may or may not have had with me in class. ELA with Ms. Mooney was fantastic. She had some really great activities that the kids were working on. We were doing some annotating. We just had some really great discussions with that. Then we head to lunchtime, which is really, really late I was really, really hungry by the time that we got to lunch class, or we got to lunch, sitting around and hanging out with friends. I will say, love the new calf tables that I got. I need to get some more of those because they were definitely key to kids talking to each other. And then we finished out the day with some math. I'm a former math teacher, so that was probably the easiest class for me that day. But definitely nice to see kids working together in math class because that's really what I want to see all the time. The biggest thing for me is getting to take that inside look, and I encourage principals everywhere to do it. I encourage anyone who works in a school. I would encourage Superintendent Thompson to come down and spend a day as a student because I think it really gives you a clear idea of what your students are experiencing, gives you an idea of what the culture of the school is, how teachers interact with kids, how kids interact with each other, and really gave me some good inspiration as we start to work on next year's school improvement plan and we're finishing up the district strategic plan about what are the areas that we are doing really, really well and what are some areas that we really need to work on.
And that's fair ball. And he tags him. And he tags out Jordan Whitley. And the A's are your 2019 Babe Ruth champions.
And there you have it. The A's are your 2019 Babe Ruth League champions. Welcome into the Sports Update, everybody. My name is Brian Dunn, and we had a decisive Game 3 over at the Willett Field this past Thursday night in the Babe Ruth League Championship Series. The A's were able to develop some runs in the early going, but the White Sox could not overcome the deficit, and the A's win Game 3 to crown themselves champions. Let's throw it down to the field where Mike Crowley caught up with some coaches and players after the game.
But Jack, you go the distance in winning the series for the Athletics. What did you think was working tonight?
Well, I felt my fastball was on command tonight. Thought I could throw a first strike. Curveball, not so much, but we can get there every now and then.
Denny and I were doing the stats, and so you went the distance. You pitched all 7 innings. Only in 2 of those 7 innings were they able to get the leadoff runner aboard. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I just try to keep it low and away and see what I can do from there.
I'm relieved. I've been with these kids for some of them for 3 years. We won 1 game each of the last 2 years, and they still stuck with it, with the idea that this year we would have a good team. And when you finish last or second to last, you get a chance to pick some kids. Unfortunately, we were able to get some they're really good baseball players, but they're great kids. I mean, they really are. I mean, I've been around them, and they're just a pleasure to be around. They're just good kids, you know.
Well, that's all for me this week. To stay tuned for updates on sports over the summer, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you, and back to you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Ice cream and inflatable water slides are your quintessential summer favorites for children, but what about a road race? This past weekend, the Rec Department hosted the first ever Ice Cream 5K and Family Fun Run. Participants gathered at the Willett for registration and pre-race stretching. Following the stretching, they lined up at the starting line and they were off.
Today we have our first ever ice cream 5K and family fun run. So we have the family fun run. It's a 1 mile loop for families to run. We have squirt guns, we have bubbles as they go around the route, and then after when they finish they can have ice cream or slushes from Bubbling Brooks or Orange Leaf, and then we do have inflatable slides and a firehouse inflatable for them to enjoy after their post run.
I think I ran it good. I ran it harder and a little faster, and it kind of wore me out a little quicker than I usually did, but I just kept on going.
So we don't see a lot of 5Ks run by recreation programs, and we thought what a great idea to bring the community together right before the summer starts, right after school ends, and just have everybody come together and have fun. We like to see families getting outside and taking fitness to the next level and showing our little ones what it's like to be, going outside, getting outdoors, and being active during the summer months.
For more summer events and activities, head to the Civic for the Rec Department's program guide. Parades, military reenactments, and carol-on concerts are all part of the summer's biggest holiday, the 4th of July. The celebrations are just around the corner and the town is preparing. The fun begins at 1 o'clock. Let's see what's in store.
The time of year is drawing near. The town of Norwood is preparing for their 4th of July celebrations, and there is plenty of activities on the agenda for all friends and families to enjoy. There will be a bicycle, tricycle, doll carriage, and historical character parade at 1 o'clock, beginning at the First Congregational Church at Walpole and Winter Streets. Fee is $1 and every child gets a t-shirt and a ribbon. 2 o'clock is a historic Old Parish Cemetery tour and a public reading. 3 o'clock is an Independence Day Carillon concert played from the Town Hall Memorial Tower. 5 o'clock is the annual Firecracker 5K road race, and to round out the day, the town will have the Eastern Massachusetts Fire Truck Procession, antique and classic cars with a historic military reenactment. And as always, the 4th of July Parade Spectacular will be the finale to the holiday, which will be broadcasted and streamed as always live on Norwood Community Media. We hope everybody enjoys a happy and safe 4th of July.
As mentioned, we hope you all have a happy and safe 4th of July holiday. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.